welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Today I will be doing the beginning of the year book tag. This tag was started by Larry on booktube. I watched her video of this tag right when it came out, and I thought I should do it because we have a lot of really good questions here. All of these questions really go over how you plan your reading year for 2025 to be. We have questions asking about what books you plan to read this year, what you can expect from my booktube channel, also what your reading goals are for the year. So a lot of really interesting questions. With that said, all out of the way, let's just get right into it. The first question is, how many books do you plan to read this year? I said this in my last wrap up video, I plan to read 48 books this year. That is the goal that I am setting for myself. My goal is to try to read at least 4 books a month. And if I do that, then I would have read 48 books throughout the whole year. I think that's a pretty reasonable goal for me. I don't want to shoot for too many books because knowing me, my reading is going to like ebb and flow. I know for some months I'll read a lot of books, and then others I probably won't feel like reading too many books. So I want to make room for those times when I am going to be a little bit slumpish. So for that reason, I think 48 books total is a good amount. If I don't make that goal, that is fine. But I think I will. I'm on a really good track right now for reading a lot of books this year. I'm in such a huge reading mood, so hopefully that'll keep up. Question number 2 is a book that you're likely to reread this year. I am a huge fan of rereading books. I will reread 1 or 2 books a month. I'm a huge fan of revisiting books that are my favorite books of all time, so I plan to do that a lot this year. I'm just going to mention a few of the books that I really want to reread this year. The first one I'm going to be getting back to really soon, and that is Fourth Wing. I need to reread the first book in this series because I have not read the second yet, and the third one comes out in a few days, but by now I have forgotten a lot about the first book, what happens in here, so I need to get back into it to really remember what all went on in this book so that I can continue on with this series. So I'm going to get back into this one really soon. Another one I really want to reread is Warcross by Maria Lu. I've only read this book once. I think I read it in 2018. I remember absolutely loving it, so I would really love to revisit this one again. I also have Far From the Tree by Robin Benway. This book touched my heart so much when I first read it. It brought me to tears. I don't know if it's a good idea to reread books that made me cry, because do I want to be emotional again? I don't know, but all I remember is really loving this book, and I want to read it again because it was, oh my god, so good. And then another reread I have is The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. Loved this one when I first read it. I don't even remember when I read this book. I think it was maybe 2019? 2018, somewhere around there. I remember this being a very whimsical book. It's about witches, so it's also like a paranormal romance as well, so really excited to get back into this one. Question number 3 is a priority read that is on your 2025 TBR. I have a lot of priority reads for this year because I was in a reading slump for so long. There are so many books that have released since then that I need to catch up on, so I have a lot. But an author that is like a priority read for me, where I need to really prioritize reading her entire backlist, is Colleen Hoover. As much as a Colleen Hoover fan as I am, it is atrocious to me that I have not read all of her books. I'm close to having read all of her books, but there are still quite a few books from her that I have not read yet, and I've been reading her since 2015. So it is ridiculous. So here are a few books from her that I have that are on my physical TBR. The first one is Never Never, and this one was also co-written by Taryn Fisher. I also have Without Merit. I've been putting this one off for a long time because I remember when it first came out, it didn't get the best reviews, so I've been like scared to start it because I don't know if I'm going to like it, because this one is a very polarizing one, but I still plan to get to it and give it a try. And then I also have Regretting You. All I remember about this one is that it focuses on the relationship between a mother and her daughter. So it sounds pretty good. I think this is actually going to be the next Colleen Hoover book that I do get to. Question number 4 is an author that you won't be reading more books from this year. This one I had to really think about because I don't give up on authors really easily. I'm often really willing to give authors another chance, even if I don't like a book that they wrote. I'll give other books by them a chance, so I don't usually say like, oh, I'm just never going to read this author again if I didn't like one book from them. But I did come up with one author where I've tried a few of their books and they've either been okay or I just didn't like them at all. And that author is Christina Lauren. I have read their, I think it's called their Beautiful series. The first one was Beautiful Bastard. I read that book a long time ago. I think I gave it like a 3 stars. I think I read like 1 or 2 other books from this series. I don't even remember anything of what they're about. I read them so long ago, and those ones were better. And then a few years ago, I read The Unhoneymooners, and I did not like it at all. So because the books that I have read from them have either been just okay or just not good, I think I can say I'm going to give up on Christina Lauren. I don't plan to pick up any books from them from the future. Maybe that'll change eventually, but as of right now, I'm just not interested in reading other books from them. Question number 5 is something new you want to read, and that could be a new genre, a new trope. So the things that I listed aren't really new to me that much, but they're things that I don't read enough of. The first one being is fantasy, and specifically fantasy romance. I would love to read more fantasy romance or romantasy this year. There's so many romantasy books that I have on my TBR that I would love to get to. Usually I'm more of just a strictly romance reader, but I would like to incorporate more fantasy into my TBR for this year. Another thing I would love to read more of this year is manga. From the few manga that I have read, I have really loved them, so I don't know why I don't read more manga. It would be really awesome to get into more manga series this year. Question number 6 is a popular book that you would like to read. I could put so many books with this question. So many books. There are so many really hyped books out there that are on my TBR that I have not read yet. So I have a lot that I could say, but I will just mention a few of them. This one I'm really going to be prioritizing because I've heard so many good things about it, and that is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. This one is a romantic fantasy that is really hyped up right now, so I'm feeling left out. I want to check it out and see how it is. It is quite long though, so I'm a little intimidated by it. But that's not going to stop me. I am going to get into it. Another one is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This is the first book in a series. I feel like this book was more popular a few years ago. I don't hear much about it nowadays, but it is quite a backlist book, so that might be why, and I just have not started it yet. This one is a romance, and that's pretty much all I know about it, so I'll figure out what it's all about when I get into it. I picked up this beautiful, absolutely gorgeous edition from Walmart. It has like sprayed edges and a beautiful, just no dust jacket, hardback book. It is just stunning. So this book, the aesthetic of it alone is really enticing me to pick it up soon. And then another really popular book I have is Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. I picked this book up at the airport and I had planned to read it during my flight and I never did. So it is still sitting on my physical shelf and I just need to get to it. This one is very, very polarizing though. It's very infamous, so I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. It is a dark romance, so it makes sense based on that why it's so infamous. I'm just really curious about it, so I'm gonna get started on this one really soon, within the next few months at least. So for the next question, I'm going to combine 2 questions. So number 7 is your most anticipated 2025 book release. I'm going to combine this with a question that comes later, which is a sequel you're really looking forward to reading this year. And that is because I have been out of the book community for so long that I don't even know what's coming out in the foreseeable future within this year. And none of my auto-buy authors, as far as I know, are releasing anything this year, so I can't even mention an author that I love that is releasing a new book this year, because that would be an easy pick, but no, I don't even have that option. So I'm going to combine these 2 questions. So pretty much a sequel that is releasing this year that I'm really, really looking forward to is Caught Up by Nevessa Allen, and this is the 2nd book in her Into Darkness series. So I read the first book, Lights Out, and finished it a few days ago. I'm going to go in depth on my thoughts about it in my January wrap-up, so I won't go all into my thoughts right here. I will sum it up though. I am obsessed with Lights Out, so much so that I finished it like a few days ago. I am still thinking about that book. It was so good, and I cannot wait to talk about it more in my January wrap up. It was amazing. So I am really looking forward to the sequel to this book. It's on Goodreads, it says it's releasing in June, so I think that's still correct. So still, there's going to be a little ways off until it comes out, but I need it right now because the first one was so good. This is going to be a companion series. I am a little nervous though because I loved Lights Out, the first book, so much that I'm scared that Caught Up is not going to live up to that, but the synopsis to the sequel sounds really, really interesting, so I have high hopes for it. This is a dark romance series, but it's actually more of a rom-com. At least the first book felt like more of a rom-com. It's really, really unique. I would really encourage you to check it out if you're interested in that kind of genre. Question number 8 is a bookish goal for 2025. So the main goal that I wrote down is to just read for enjoyment and don't get caught up in the numbers. I feel like in the past, when I've been really a part of the book community, I would get very competitive, which is not good. I would see other people reading so many books, like over 100 books a year, and I would feel kind of inferior because I can't read more than 100 books a year. That's just never going to happen for me. So I would really question myself as both a content creator and a reader, feeling like I'm not like a true reader because I don't read like hundreds of books a year. I'm not going to focus on that anymore. I just want to go at my own pace, read what I enjoy. Don't just pick up a book and try to push myself through it if I'm not enjoying it just to read my yearly reading goal. I don't mind reading like I said 48 books this year, only that. I just really want to focus on enjoying my books and not just focusing on the numbers. So that is my main goal. Question number 9 is an interesting one. It is a book that's been on your TBR that you don't plan to read. So I actually just recently went through my Goodreads TBR list and took off like, I want to say 300 books that have been sitting on my Goodreads want to read list for years that I realized I'm just never going to read. So I condensed it down a lot. So because I really cleansed out my TBR recently, it's kind of hard to answer this question now, but I did go through my physical TBR of books that I have. I found 2 books sitting on my shelf that I'm not going to say I don't ever plan to read them. I just don't know if I am. Like I might, but I don't know. And that probably means that I need to unhaul these. The first one is going to be Night Film by Marisha Pessel. This book I have owned for so long and I have not gotten to it, obviously. This one is a thriller and I'm not a thriller girly right now. I have not been in the mood to read a thriller for so long, so because of that, I just don't know if I'm ever going to get to this. Don't even remember what it's about. All I know is that it's a thriller. So we'll just see. I might try to put this on my TBR for this year and at least give the first few chapters a try and see how I like it. I have heard good things about it though, so let me know if I should keep this. Another one I have is Lament by Maggie Stiefvater. I picked up this book for free at like a bookstore. That's why I have this one. This one is a paranormal. I'm guessing it's a paranormal romance as well. And it follows Fae, which I love. Fae books. I have mentioned that before. So that's why I'm still keeping this one because the subject matter sounds interesting. It is a YA. I don't know if I'll ever get to it though because it's not a priority right now. So I just don't know, but I'm still holding on to it. Question number 10 is a series that you want to read this year. Again, I have so many books that can apply to this, so many series that I want to get started on this year. I'm going to mention, though, the series that I have to get to this year because I have been putting it off for way, way too long, and that is the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. I can't believe I still have not read the series yet. I have not started the first book, which is House of Earth and Blood. It's ridiculous because I love the ACOTAR series by SJM so much. And so why have I not gotten to this yet? I don't know. Actually, I do know. The reason why is because this book intimidates me so much. I have heard from other people who have read this that It is a very dense fantasy, and that scares me to death because fantasy in general is really hard for me to grasp, even though I still read it. So the fact that this has been called a very dense, like hard fantasy with a lot of world building and stuff, that scares me, and that's the main reason I've been putting it off. But I still want to read it because I love Sarah J. Maas, so I'm still gonna read it. I just need to read it when I am deeply in the mood to read a fantasy book so that I can really fully truly engross myself in this book. This is one that will have to have my full attention for sure, but I am really excited to get started on it. Question number 11 is your auto-buy authors going into 2025. I don't have any, I was about to say I don't have any new auto-buy authors right now, but like I mentioned, I loved Lights Out by Navessa Allen so much that she might be a new auto-buy author for me. I don't know if she has any other books that are out, any other series or anything, so I'll have to look out for that, but she might be a new auto-buy author for me. But I am going to mention my, auto-buy authors that I've had for a long time, and that is Colleen Hoover and Jennifer L. Armentrout. I don't think they are releasing any new books this year. I haven't heard that they are releasing any books in 2025. However, I have not read all of their books, so I need to read all of their backlist. I still have so much that I need to read from them, but if they are releasing anything this year, of course, without hesitation, I'm going to be picking them up. Question number 12, I love this question, and that is a book to show adaptation you're excited about this year. So the only book to show adaptation that I know is happening this year with a book that I have read before, or a series I've read before, is the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. It is getting a TV adaptation that is going to be releasing on Passion Flix. From what I've heard, it is going to be releasing this summer. I am really looking forward to it. I love this series. I have not read the whole series. I am working on it. The series is so long. I don't even know how many books are in this series, so it is quite intimidating, and it is going to take me a while to get through all of the books. I have read the first 7 books in this series, I want to say. I think, the first 7. And from what I have read from this series, I love it. It's such a great one. It's a paranormal romance following vampires. I'm really curious to see how the show is going to do. So I'm really excited for the show. It looks really good from the stills I've seen of it, from the actors that I know are in it. It looks amazing. So really looking forward to that one. And then I listed 2 series that have been announced that they're getting TV shows, but I don't think they're coming out this year, but I'll mention them anyway. The Twisted series by Anna Huang is getting a TV adaptation. It was just announced a few days ago, which is hilarious because I just read that entire series for the first time last month. So the timing could not be more funny for me. I loved that series. I didn't like the last book in it, but I loved the first 3, and I think a TV show adaptation of the series would be so cool. It is going to be on Netflix. There's no word when it will be coming out, but when it comes out, I will be sat. I will be seated. I am so looking forward to it. And another one I just remembered recently is announced to be getting a TV adaptation, and that is the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. I love this series. I love these books, so I'm really looking forward to an adaptation of this one. I don't think there's been any news recently on how the progress of it is going, but hopefully it'll be releasing soon because I think it's going to be really good. Question number 13 is a sequel you're anticipating. I already answered that question, so we're going to move on to question number 14, and that is bookish things you're leaving in 2024, which is a really good question. Like I mentioned earlier, I want to leave behind competitive reading. I want to read for enjoyment, not for numbers. Whether that means having read only 20 books in a year or over 100, I just want to read for enjoyment. We're not going to focus on numbers, even though I set a goal for myself, but it was a reasonable goal. So yeah, definitely that one. And another one I really want to try to implement, but it is really hard for me, and that is not buying books until I've read them. And that might not make a lot of sense. Let me explain. So what I mean by that is I want to read, because I have Kindle Unlimited, If that book is on Kindle Unlimited, I'm going to read it on my Kindle first. And if I love the book and I feel like it's a book that I could potentially read again, then I will buy a physical copy of the book. This way, I'm saving money and I'm also saving on space because I don't have all the space in the world on my bookshelves to be keeping books. So I'm going to try to do that. I've already failed a couple of times. I went to Vegas recently with my mom and we hit up some bookstores and we went to Barnes & Noble. And I ended up picking up Quicksilver as well as Fourth Wing. So I already kind of failed because I haven't read, well, I've read Fourth Wing and I love that one. So that one doesn't count. That one applied to this goal perfectly, but I have not read Quicksilver yet. And I bought it anyway. And it's on Kindle Unlimited, which makes it even worse, but so I failed in that regard. But this is one I'm really going to try to implement going forward. Next question is what to expect from this account. I actually didn't write anything down for this question because I don't really know. I kind of just go with the flow when I'm making YouTube videos and just kind of test out what is working, what's not working. If something is not working, then I'll get rid of it. My main focus is book reviews. I love doing monthly wrap-up videos the most. I love talking about every single book I've read and my thoughts on them. That is what I love doing most, is book reviews. Along with that, I guess also book recommendations, because those also fall in the line of book reviews. So I might make separate videos for like books in certain genre recommendations or books having to do with a certain trope that I would recommend. So probably, yeah, individual recommendations, videos. I tossed up the idea of doing vlogs, but I just don't know because I am someone who doesn't like watching vlogs. They're never the type of videos that I will go out of my way to watch. So if I don't like watching vlogs, why would I make vlogs? That doesn't really make sense to me. But if you guys like watching vlogs, let me know and I'll make some reading vlogs. And maybe we could just test that out and see where it goes. I have made reading vlogs in the past and a lot of them have done really well. So maybe I should do reading vlogs, but I don't know because I don't like watching vlogs. So why would I do them? But maybe. We'll just see. But yeah, the main thing you guys can expect from me are monthly wrap-ups and book recommendations. I think those are the top two things that I would love to be making, and I hope you guys enjoy them. Question number 16 is, how has your reading taste evolved from last year? So last year I wasn't reading much, so I can't really say on that, but I can say how my reading tastes have evolved throughout the years. I definitely read a lot less YA and way more adult books than I did compared to when I first started my booktube channel, which was like over 10 years ago at this point. I was reading a lot more YA back then. I still pick up YA from time to time, but for the most part, I read a lot more adult. I'm way more into adult romances now and adult fantasy. Those are my main genres right now. I am less inclined to pick up YA books because I obviously am not a teenager anymore. I'm an adult now, I've been an adult for 10 years, which is crazy. So I'm just at a place in my life where I don't relate to teenagers a whole lot anymore. So that's why I pick up a lot less young adult. Question number 17 is booktube creators that inspire you. So like I mentioned earlier, I have been away from the book community for quite a while now. So I'm just now dipping my toes back into it and discovering new creators. So because of that, I don't have a lot of creators to show. I did list, though, a creator that I have loved for years, and I still love her so much, and that is Jess from Peace Love Books. Her and we have such similar tastes in books. She loves romance, she loves adult romance, she loves romantasy. We click with our tastes. So I always get my book recommendations from her. And I have gone back this past month and watched all of her monthly wrap-ups from 2024. So I have so many book recommendations from her that are on my TBR right now. I just enjoy her videos so much. Another creator that I discovered just recently, and I really love her videos, we also have such similar tastes, is Belle Therese. She also reads a lot of romance books, so I really connect with her as well. I actually feel like BookTube has evolved so much where I feel like there's so many creators who don't just focus on young adult anymore, because back when I first started BookTube, young adult was the main focus. A lot of the focus now is on adult books, adult romance, adult fantasy, and that is the genres that I am clicking with right now. So I'm really happy that booktube as a whole has evolved so much in terms of genres. And the last question is something you want to say to anyone wanting to start a bookish account. A big tip that I have, and this is a tip that I have been applying to myself recently, and that is to make the content for you and don't focus too much on the numbers. This is something that I am trying to focus on right now because I myself love the process of making YouTube videos. I am a creative, so I love the process of editing videos. I don't love filming videos too much, but I know it's something I have to do in order to edit videos. The filming process is my least favorite part of the process, which is interesting because a lot of YouTubers say that they hate the editing process the most. I love the editing process. But anyway, I am a creative, so therefore I really enjoy making videos. And so much so that even if no one ever watched them, I would still make them. I feel like it gives me something to do. It's a really cathartic experience, just letting all my thoughts about books out there because it's something I'm passionate about. So if you are really passionate about books, just make the videos. Just post the Instagram posts. Just do it. If you love it, do it. Don't just focus on the numbers. Make videos because you just love making videos if that's something you're passionate about. And honestly, if you're clearly passionate about something, people will pick up on that and they'll want to follow you. I've seen it time and time again. So just do it. Just make the video. Just post the Instagram post. Just do it. Because coming from myself, it's such a fun hobby. So definitely do it. And maybe you'll make something from it. So that was the beginning of the year book tag. I know I mentioned a lot of books that I plan to read this year. My next video, I will be talking about the top 25 books that I plan to read in 2025. So even though I mentioned some of the books that I plan to read in 2025 through this tag, there are still a lot of books that I plan to read this year that I would love to mention. So I still will be doing a 2025 TBR video that will be coming out next week. If you want to do this tag, I tag you, do it. I would love to see it. And with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I will see y'all really soon. Bye.